Hi, Jonathan.
Hello, testing, testing. Ah, yeah, I can hear myself.
So you are the founder, one of the founders of 604 Records, and you founded it back in 2001 with Chad Kroeger. Don't know if anyone here knows him.
I gotta say, because he'd be pissed off, Kruger.
Krueger. Okay.
Everybody says Kroeger, it's Kruger.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay, it's like when you find out that Chrissy Teigen's last name is actually Teigen. And you're
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Let's talk about that. That's more interesting than me.
All right, so you founded it with Chad Kroeger.
I did.
And since then, the music industry has undergone a lot of change.
Yes.
And a lot of that is in the tech space, notably around how people consume music and how they listen to music.
Yep.
And so 604 Records is an independent label, but how have you adapted to those changes in order to maintain relevance?
I don't come from the music business originally. And I mention that because we've always done stuff, I think, a little bit differently, and I think that's a lot of the reason why. Mm-hmm. Like, most people who have the kind of job that I have are failed musicians. And I don't mean that in a shitty way. I mean, like, you know.
Or they have, like, a family connection.
Yeah, but, you know, like, it's a lot of times it's people who wanted to be a singer. But, you know, of every 1,000 people who try to become a professional singer, maybe one succeeds.
I mean, literally American Idol.
Right. So what do the other 999 do? Well, a lot of them are like, I'm going to start a record company, or I'm going to start a management company. I wasn't that guy. I fell into it by accident. It was a complete fluke. And it's relevant, I think, because it really relates a lot to how we've done business since day one. So for example, independent record labels have distributors. Our current distributor is Warner. When we first started, it was Universal. So the first deal we did was with Universal. And they really wanted to distribute our digital assets. To me, it made no sense. Because if anybody here knows, you know, if you want to upload an MP3 to the iTunes download store, it's super easy.
Yeah.
So why would I pay Universal 20% of my money to do something I could do? I don't mind paying people to do things I can't do, but I could do that. So it made no sense to me. And so I insisted, and they capitulated. And we were the only label in Canada who did our own digital distribution. And that's kind of set the tone for the company over the years. Mm-hmm. So we've just always done stuff the way, I've always just been guided by my own common sense and my own intuition on how to do things. So when we started that company, digital music was just the download store. There was no streaming, there was no Spotify, there was no Apple Music, there was just the download store.
Yeah, we pirated our own CDs.
LimeWire and Napster had just sort of started. I mean, Chad and I could not have chosen a worse time to start a record company because I think Napster happened 6 months after we started it. Yeah, I mean, we've just always done our best to adapt, do direct deals with these companies. And I think that's important because for a lot of indie labels who let their distributor do everything, they don't really get to know that side of the business. Like, because we had a direct relationship with Apple and a direct agreement with Apple, we really got to know them. We got to know how the download store worked. We developed our own relationships with those companies. And I think that's really made a huge difference to our success.
And I think some important context for the audience is that you are a lawyer by trade, and you've been Nickelback's lawyer for 32 years. 32
years. I know that must be shocking because I look like I'm 32, but I'm not. And Chad was a teenager when I first started working with them, and they weren't even called Nickelback. They were called Village Idiot. My first piece of advice to them, change your name.
And it's gone down in infamy, really.
Yes.
And so 604 represents Carly Rae Jepsen. I don't know if you know her, local crowd. And her song, Call Me Maybe, huge hit, and still to this day, a certified banger, in my opinion.
It is, I believe, still the biggest selling digital single in history.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Good for her. Local
Good
girl.
for her, good for me.
Fine. But if Call Me Maybe came out today, I'm sure that it would be super viral on Reels, on TikTok, and it would still reach that kind of same status.
I'm not sure I agree.
Oh.
Just because a lot of things sort of happened in the moment, like, you know, Call Me Maybe. So Scooter Braun got involved. Scooter was involved with his label. And, you know, for those of you who've heard, you know, that Scooter Braun's like kind of a bad person.
Yeah. The Swifties know.
I don't want to get sued. I'll just let that sentence kind of sit. But, you know, he brought Bieber into the equation.
Yes.
And so a lot of things happened in the moment that, like, Bieber did that viral video. And, you know, but the thing is, it was already a hit in Canada. Like, people don't realize that. We put it out. The thing was went to #1 in Canada at Christmas 2012. Bieber was home in Stratford, Ontario, home for Christmas. He hears it on the radio, and he tweets with Selena Gomez, in a picture of Selena Gomez, saying, "This is the catchiest song I've ever heard." Well, boom. I mean, if that hadn't happened that moment, I don't know that the whole thing would have happened. It's a great song. It would have been successful. It already was successful. But it was the Bieber secret sauce that kind of blew it up. And when he did that video of him dancing with his friends, that really is when it blew up. And then everybody from Barack Obama to Kermit the Frog did viral videos.
And so you don't think that the TikTokers would have made a little dance?
I'm saying maybe they would have and maybe they wouldn't have. And
Yeah.
I still think it would be a hit. But it's not like every hit song goes viral.
True.
I'm just saying that one had some very specific things that happened in the moment that I can sort of trace it back and say, oh, when this happened, you know, it expanded. And when that happened, it expanded.
Yeah, I find that these days, a lot of the more popular artists kind of rely on that viral hit, whether it's on TikTok or some other platform or what have you. And there's a risk of them not creating a long-lasting, enduring career.
It's depressing to me, to be honest. I mean, I find I'm an old school guy. I'm an old guy. And I'm a big believer that great art is what leads to success. That might be naive. That might be whatever. But you know, I like to work with artists who I think are going to be career artists, who are going to be able to create great art and honest art for a long period of time. The thing about these viral hits is that it's not a recipe for a long career. In fact, it's generally a recipe for a short career. Now, I guess having a big viral hit and having that moment, making a bit of money, isn't the worst thing that can happen to a person. But I'd rather have a long career than have, like, a moment that disappears and is gone forever. And even Carly, I think, has been successful. Like, look, her big moment was Call Me Maybe, let's face it. She hasn't really had a big radio hit since. But she
I don't know,
able to parlay,
Emotion was pretty good.
but not on a radio. Wasn't a radio hit.
She's a staple at Pride, LA Pride.
I was going to say, she really was able to convert the success of that song by becoming more of an adult-oriented artist, which I think was very smart. And I was, you know, involved with all that, and I thought that really made a lot of sense to sort of take that moment and go, okay, that's not necessarily the artist I want to be in the long term. Like, I can remember sitting in my office with Carly before Call Me Maybe, and we'd be talking about what kind of career do you want to have, where do you want to be? And the artist that we really always talked about was Carly Simon, who young people here probably don't even know who I'm talking about, but very big artist in the 70s. And the thing we loved about her career is that she wrote about relationships, which Carly largely writes about relationships, yet, and it was very adult Carly Simon, yet it was also in the top 40. And we sort of loved that idea that you could write material that was adult, yet still be in the top 40. And I think she's got a lovely career.
And so you mentioned Justin Bieber, and he notably became famous, got discovered on YouTube.
Right.
And so what does it look like to discover an artist in 2025? Is it just on social media, or?
Yes and no. I mean, that's often where artists come to our attention the first time, but not always. I mean, you know, I called it 604 Records for a reason, because I'm proud of where I'm from. And Chad and I had a lot of pressure. we did our first deal with a guy named Lior Cohen, who some of you might know or you might not. He's now the head of YouTube Music. At the time, he was the head of Island Def Jam, who were distributors of Roadrunner, which was Nickelback's label. So he's the guy who gave us the seed money to start 604 back in 2001. And he used to say, he's this Israeli guy, big, intimidating Israeli guy, and I'm bad at doing Israeli accents, but he sort of said to us, you know, you need to be in LA or you need to be in New York or you're going to fail. And Chad and I were like, fuck that. Like, we want to be the big fish in this small pond,
right? Because
there's so much talent here. We wanted to be the big fish here. And calling 604 was kind of a fuck you to Lior. It's like, we're not going anywhere, dude. We're staying here. We're going to lay our roots here. This is where we want to be. It was definitely the right choice to make. And the reason I bring this up is we still mostly sign bands from Vancouver. Like, we're not scouring the internet for the next viral hit. We're scouring the clubs. We're scouring local venues. We're talking to local producers. You know, if you look at our roster, and we sign bands that aren't from Vancouver. I mean, Coleman Hell, Two Heads, he's from Thunder Bay. It's not like I'm against signing bands from elsewhere, but it's sort of our mandate is to represent for the West Coast, and that's what we've really done. So once in a while, I'll have one of my employees come to me and say, hey, there's this thing blowing up. But the truth is, if something's blown up on TikTok, it's too late for a company like ours.
Right.
Because then it just becomes a stupid bidding war, and you know, one of the major labels swoops in, overpays for it, milks the shit out of it, discards the artist like they're like garbage, and it's over. I'm not into that. Not my idea of a business model. Don't like it.
Yeah. And so, you know, we are here at a tech conference, and so how important is it for independent labels or producers to have an online presence on, like, social media, for example?
It's important. I mean, social media, obviously I'm stating the obvious, I'm not telling you things you don't know, but, you know, social media enables you to connect with your audience. And the funny thing is, I've heard a bunch of people talking over the last couple of days and, you know, the importance of connecting in social media. I mean, we sort of did that 15 years ago with Marianas Trench. Any Marianas Trench fans here? All right. So Marianas became big before there really was social media the way we know it now. But believe it or not, a big part of their success was MySpace. Those guys worked MySpace incredibly hard. They spent hours every day on MySpace, and they understood YouTube before just about anybody else. They were putting viral clips up on YouTube, and people thought we were nuts. Like, if you look, and if these things are all still online, Josh, the singer in Marianas Trench, put up this clip called Hot Chocolate. And it's him dressed as a ninja. To this day, I don't know why he was dressed as a ninja, but he was dressed as a ninja in a Subway sandwich store and filmed himself yelling hot chocolate at the top of his lungs. Look it up on YouTube, it's there. This stuff really reacted. We had a show here at an old club called the Purple Onion in Gastown. It's not long departed. And I went to the show, and there was a lineup around the block. I was like, holy shit. I walk into the club, and there must have been 30 kids with signs, hot chocolate. It was the first time in my brain that I went, okay. Because you have to remember, 20 years ago, the internet was still, nobody quite knew what to trust.
Yep.
Like, I would have people sending me emails, you know, dear Mr. Simkin, I'm in a band, we're on MySpace, we have 2 million followers. And I'd go and look, and sure enough, they have 2 million followers. Then I'd listen to the music, and it sucked. And I'd be like, I just didn't trust it.
Yeah.
That Marianas Hot Chocolate event was the first time I kind of went, okay, there can actually be a connection between the cyber world and the real world. You can do something online that leads to people actually buying tickets and going to a show. It was a profound moment for our label, and our label was never the same after that. Because instead of doing the typical thing, because back in the day when I first started, everybody did things exactly the same way. You'd make an entire album, you'd make a usually expensive music video for the single that you chose, you'd throw it out into the world, you'd cross your fingers, did it work? Oh, didn't work. Next. That was it.
Yeah.
Well, after Marianas, we no longer approached it that way. After Marianas, it was like, who's the audience? Who do we think the audience is? What steps can we take to reach that audience? That's a very different marketing approach than just making an album and not thinking about those
And
things.
how did you figure out who the audience actually was?
That's a hard thing, and it's something we still struggle with. I mean, you sometimes get a sense of it. If a band's already been around a little bit and they've got an audience, you can sort of extrapolate from the analytics who the audience is. A lot of times we really don't know. But like, for example, we have a big country division. Dallas Smith, JoJo Mason, Andrew Hyatt. I'm sure I'm forgetting people. Don't get mad at me if you're watching. You know, the country audience, we kind of know who those people are. Mm-hmm. We know where they are. We know what the basic demographic is. But that's something we have to figure out. It's us sitting around a room having a conversation saying, who do we think the audience is?
Are those demographics changing now that country music is kind of on the up?
It's gotten younger. It's apps and more female. Mm-hmm. There's more female country listeners.
Yeah, Morgan Wallen, the whole Billboard top 10.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So we just have, you know, we're closing out here, but what has been one of the most memorable things in your career?
Oh, my God. I've had so many. I'm really lucky, and I know it. I mean, every time, the thing's funny about my job and my business is it's very public. So when something goes well, everybody knows it, and you feel like you're, you know, the king of the world. But when something goes bad, everybody knows it. And then you feel like everybody's pointing and laughing at you. But, I mean, Call Me Maybe, definitely one of the big highlights. I mean, my God, that year, when it was the biggest song in the world, you know, we traveled the world. I mean, to go to countries where, you know, people know this song, they don't even speak English, and they know this song, was very profound. The Nickelback experience has been profound.
You were in a documentary.
I'm in the documentary. If you see the Hate to Love on Netflix, I am in that documentary. I'm the one who swears a lot. That's been a profound experience. And the fact that I'm still with them 32 years later, by the way, I know there's a lot of Nickelback haters or they hate the music. The nicest human beings in the world, and I mean that. Generous, loyal, decent guys. But all the hits, Marianas Trench has been an incredible journey. Len, Steal My Sunshine, that was me. That was incredible. I mean, every time you have a big hit that impacts people, it's an amazing experience.
Yes. Jonathan Simkin, everyone.
Thank you.